All right, fourth grade, welcome to lesson 118. Today we are going to be tackling dividing by two-digit numbers. So, recall that our steps of division are best remembered by the question, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers regularly? And remember that each of these stands for something. Now, does stands for divide as our first step. McDonald's stands for multiply for our second step. We sell or subtract for our third step. If we want cheese on our cheeseburger, we got to check to make sure that our answer is making sense so far for our fourth step. And then we have B for burgers, which means bring up our number or bring down. Now, remember that we also have the word regularly at the end, which means that we need to have a remainder at the end if there's a number left over. So let's apply that to dividing by two-digit divisors. So here we have 32 goes into 664. So the first thing that we can do is we can just ignore the 2 for a second and ask ourselves, how many times does 3 fit into 6? And that answer, in my mind, is 2. So 3 fits into 6 twice, but 32 doesn't fit into 6. So I'm going to put a 0. I think 32 fits into 66 twice because 3 fits into 6 twice. So when I try that, 32 times 2, I know is 64. And that is smaller than 66, which means I'm good to go. And I'm going to do 6 minus 4 is 2, and 6 minus 6 is 0. Now, 2 is less than 32, so I can check and bring down, and I bring down my 24. Now I ask, how many times does 32 fit into 24? Well, 32 is bigger than 24. That means that it fits into 24 0 times, and there's nothing left over to bring down. So my remainder is 24. Now, 24 seems like a really big number, but remember, our remainder just has to be smaller than our divisor. And here, 24 is less than 32, so our answer is good. Next, we have, how many times does 28 fit into 2,764? So remember, first step, how many times does 2 fit into 2? Well, 2 fits into 2 once. Now, 28 does not fit into 2. So, does 28 fit into 27? No, it doesn't. So now I have a dilemma because if I only put 2 here over the 6, well, 28 times 2 is 56, and that's way too small to go under 276. So I'm going to need to think of a bigger number that I think it's going to fit into. So now I can ask, how many times does 2 fit into 27? Now 2 fits into 27 13 times. I'm not allowed to write 13 up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of guessing and checking. So I'm going to guess that 28 fits into 276 5 times. So I'm just going to multiply that out over here on the side. And 5 times 8 is 40. And 5 times 2 is 10. Plus 4 is 14. Now, when I look at what I just got, I got 140. And this number up here is 276. That means that I'm way too small. Because if I subtract that, I'm going to get a really big number. So I'm going to jump up. Now, what I notice also is that 28 is actually really close to the number 27. So it almost fits in 10 times. So I'm going to try 9 instead. Now 8 times 9 is 72. And 9 times 2 is 18 plus 7 is 25. Now 252 looks like a much better answer for this. So I'm going to put that it fits in 9 times. And I'm going to try 252 underneath. Now notice, I had to do a little bit of guessing and checking, and that's okay. When we're dividing by big numbers, sometimes we're going to have to give it a guess. My first guess bad guess. Second guess was a good guess. Now I'm going to subtract. 6 minus 2 is 4, and 7 minus 5 is 2. 24 is less than 28, so check. I'm good to go. Now I can bring down my 4. Now 28 does fit into 244 because 244 is bigger than 28. Now, if I look at my guesses over here, 28 times 9 is 252, which is really close to 244. So I'm going to try 28 times 8 because I think that that's going to be a good answer. So 8 times 8 is 64. Carry the 6. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 6 is 22, which is smaller than 244. So I'm going to put 224 under here, and I'm going to write my 8 on the top. Then I'm going to subtract. 4 minus 4 is 0. 4 minus 2 is 2. So now I have 98, remainder 20. And remember, as long as my remainder is smaller than my divisor, it's a good answer. Let's try another one. How many times does 62 fit into 3,819? So, first step, how many times does 6 fit into 3? Well, 6 does not fit into 3, so I can just put a 0 automatically. So next I can ask, how many times does 6 fit into 38? Well, I know that 6 times 6 is 36. So that's really close to 38. So I think that might be a good guess. So I'm going to do 62 times 6. 2 times 6 is 12. Carry the 1. 6 times 6 is 36. Plus 1 is 37. 372 is really close to 381, which means I just made a really good guess. Now, 62 doesn't fit into 38. 62 fits into 381 6 times. And I'm going to put my 372 underneath, and I'm going to subtract. Need to borrow here, and 11 minus 2 is 9, and over here will be zeros, and so I can bring down my 9. Now, how many times does 6 fit into 9? 6 fits into 9 once, so I think 62 is going to fit into 99 once, and when I subtract away, I get 37. My remainder is 37, and 37 is less than 62, so my remainder is a good answer. Next we have, how many times does 14 fit into 364? So how many times does 1 fit into 3? I know that 1 fits into 3 times. So I'm going to try over here 14 times 3. Now 14 times 3, 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. Carry the 1 is 42. Now that's too big for 36. So I'm going to take a 14 away. And 14 from 42 is 28. 28 is smaller than 36, so that's good. That means that I really only used 2 14s. So 14 doesn't fit into 3, but it fits into 36 twice because it fit in 1 less than my guess. And so I'm going to put my 28 underneath. I'm going to subtract. I'm going to borrow. And now I have 8. And I'm going to bring down my 4. Now, 1 fits into 8 times. So I can guess that 14 fits into 8 times. But I got to check that before I subtract it. So 4 times 8 is 32. And 8 times 1 plus 3 is 11. Uh-oh, way too big. I'm going to guess that 14 fits in 6 times, because I think this is way too big. Now, 4 times 6 is 24. Carry the 2. 6 times 1 plus 2 is 8. 84. And look at that. This one happens to have no remainder because 14 fits into 84 6 times, and it's a perfect answer. Now let's try 21 fits into 357. So 2 fits into 3 once. So I think 21 fits into 35 once. So I'm going to put a 0 over the 3 and a 1 over the 35. And I'm going to take it away. 5 minus 1 is 4. 3 minus 2 is 1. And 14 is less than 21. So I'm good so far. Now I'm going to bring down my 7. And I'm going to ask, how many times do I think 21 fits into 147? Now, if I do a little bit of looking at my numbers, I see that I have 21 and 147, and this is a 1 and this is a 7. So I'm going to guess that 21 fits into 147 7 times. Again, this is long division, and sometimes we just have to make guesses. And if our guess is wrong, that's okay. We'll just fix it later. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. And look at that. That's the right answer, so we're going to put our 7 on top. And we're going to take away 147, and we're going to find that 21 fits into 357 exactly 17 times.